Hi, and welcome to an in-depth behind-the-scenes look at the 1981 classic movie The Cannonball Run. The film came out in the summer of 1981 and it was made for $18 million and its gross takings at the box office was $72 million. It was widely panned by the critics but well received by the general public and has gone on to be a cult movie. It was the sixth most popular 1981 movie at the US and Canadian box offices. The movie was based on a series of real races started by Brock Yates of Car and Drive magazine, and director Hal Needham and Yates entered the real Cannonball race in 1979 in the actual ambulance which starred in the movie. The movie starred some really big A-listers: Burt Reynolds, Roger Moore, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr. and Farrah Fawcett, etc. It was originally going to star Steve McQueen, but after his death in November 1980, the lead went to Burt Reynolds and it was made as a comedy. It always makes me wonder what the film would have been like, as I know Steve McQueen was a really big car and motorcycle fanatic, and I think it would have been an awesome movie. Burt Reynolds was reluctant to star in another car chase movie, but his friend Hal Needham persuaded Burt to do it and paid him $5 million for 4 weeks' work. Not bad, hey? And up to that point, Burt became the highest paid actor in cinema history. Finance for the movie came from Raymond Chow of Golden Harvest Productions, and he insisted that Jackie Chan should also star in it, which made this Jackie's first US debut in a movie. Reportedly, Jackie Chan was quite upset when he learned that his character was going to be Japanese, as he is actually Chinese. The bulk of the stars in the movie only worked for 2 to 3 days on set, and Roger Moore had a house in California and would travel home every night after filming, which would take him 45 minutes to get home, and Dean Martin shared the lift and they would exchange many a good story on the way. So let's now take a look at some key scenes of the movie which reveal some very interesting facts and information, and also the locations of the movie and how they look today. So in the movie, Dom and Burt, I'm going to refer to them as their real names, decide to take a plane to get to the start of the race, after their car crashes, and on the way they run out of beer. Burt decides to take an impromptu landing at a small town. The town in real life is Covington, Georgia. The producers asked the governor of Georgia if the crew could shut down the centre of the town, and the police blocked off the section where the plane was to land. In this shot, you can see the plane is coming into land. Notice the barriers in the background blocking off the road, and also notice a stills photographer kneeling down to take a shot of the plane and some of the general public watching. You can see a woman poking her head out. As the plane touches down, a stuntman and woman run across the road. This shot gives us an even better look at the barriers and some more of the public watching. This is a very similar shot of how it looks today. Not much has changed. You'll notice the island in the middle of the road is now set with flowers and just some slight changes to the buildings. As the plane is going down the road, a young man is knocked off his bike. He then proceeds to pick himself back up again. Again in this shot, which I've zoomed in on, you can see the barriers and public behind them watching. I'm sure this wouldn't have happened today, as most film sets are usually on lockdown even when they are on location, especially as it was quite a dangerous stunt. You certainly wouldn't have had children around. I think these days you would see a lot of mobile phones out and it would have soon been on the internet. Here again are some different shots of how it looks today. After the plane has landed and taxied up to the shop, Dom gets out. In this shot I've zoomed in on the background and there is quite a big crowd watching. This is how it looks today. Dom walks into the shop and collects his beer. Notice the retro food packaging. Another interesting observation I've noticed is the clock in the top right hand corner. If you look at it, it was 2:40 p.m. in the afternoon, which I guess would be right by the amount of people that were around. Unfortunately, the shop doesn't exist today and is now a car park. Dom gets back in and the plane starts to head back down the road for takeoff, again with a large crowd watching. After a few seconds, a camera crew can be seen sliding into shot from the right hand side. Here is a zoomed in shot of it. Notice the young man on the roof and another man stood on the staircase taking a photo. From the same angle, here is how it looks today. This is the shot that the camera crew would have taken that you saw earlier, and members of the public running in from the side. Always makes you wonder what it was like in the town on that day. Must have been quite a carnival atmosphere. If you were one of those people that were watching it, drop a comment down below. It'd be great to hear your story. We now move on to the next scene, where all the cannonballers arrive at the Cannonball Pub. The pub was actually on Glenfair Road, Decatur, Georgia. The pub itself no longer exists, but the hotel does. After having rewatched the movie again, I was surprised at how much footage there actually is at this place. Here, Roger Moore is driving into the entrance in his Aston Martin DB5. Here is what it looks like today. Again, still pretty much the same. In this shot, he drives under the covered valley. This was part of the pub, so is no longer there. This shows a slight different angle. Here, he is just about to register. The island is still there, but it's not as big and has just bricks around it. And to think Roger Moore was stood there once. This angle you get a good look at the covered valley, but no longer there. Dean Martin talking to the girls. Notice the 80s clothes. Mad Dog arriving. And here is a really interesting shot. Notice all the stuff on the grass and the two thick electric cables going over the fence. Was this to do with the filming? A camera angle from above the covered valley. Notice the line of people stood there watching. At the time there was no wrought iron fence. The writer Brock Yates makes a cameo appearance addressing all the cannonballers. Here is where they once were all stood. Jamie Farr registering. Jackie Chan making a quick exit. Mad Dog, you're going to take that shortcut to the interstate, aren't you? Notice the wooden ramp. And today. Farrah Fawcett and George Firth looking on. Here I've outlined certain features and the route Mad Dog would have taken. Notice the pool where it once was. And here's a 3D image of it. Another major stunt that was done at the Cannonball Pub is when Mel Tillis and Terry Bradshaw arrive. They make their entrance by driving their car straight into the swimming pool to escape from the police. As you can see from this still, they drive under the covered valet and then head over the grass. Notice the wooden ramp. This is how it looks today. From different angles, sadly the pool no longer exists. In this scene, Jamie Farr arrives. As he gets out of the car, you notice a boom mic appears in the windscreen. Here it is, magnified. And then it appears on the floor. This shot is behind the hotel that is still there today. As you can see, the Cannonball Pub footings are still there. If you know how and why the pub no longer exists, drop a comment down below. When Adrienne Barbeau and Tara Buchman first get stopped by the policeman is actually Burt Reynolds' stuntman. Notice the similarities. In this next shot we have Burt and Dom driving over Eads Bridge in St. Louis, Missouri. I think this shot would have been done by helicopter as it was before the days of drones. Here it is today, the skyline is pretty much the same. Okay, so here we have the petrol station scene where Burt and Dom etc. fill up. Now I rewatched this scene a few times and found some really interesting behind the scenes details. This shot is them driving onto the forecourt. Notice the place in the background called York Place. Here it is today. It's still there. The petrol station hasn't changed much either. Here's Jack Elam talking to Farrah, desperately wanting to go to the toilet. After pausing this shot, I noticed a camera boom platform reflected in the window just behind Jack. Here is a front view of the station with Burt filling up. And same shot as it looks today. Here they are driving off. And the cops are at the side of the road. The Ferrari was Hal Needham's own car that was used in the movie. Now if you look at this scene with the cop, I noticed after pausing it that there is a real cop stood behind him, stopping the traffic. Notice he's got a radio in his hand, and then he turns and watches them film the scene. It wasn't all fun on the set of the Cannonball Run movie. Stuntwoman Heidi von Beltz was left paralysed from the neck down when she was doubling for one of the actresses who sat alongside Roger Moore. She was 24 years old at the time, and reports show that the car that was used wasn't roadworthy and had no seatbelts fitted. She sued Hal Needham and was awarded $4.6 million in damages. Sadly, Heidi died on October the 28th, 2015 at the age of 59. In another scene from the movie, Sammy Davis Jr. visits Jimmy the Greek to place some bets on the race. As Sammy is talking to Jimmy, Jimmy places on the bar a real copy of the script. It remains in place throughout the whole scene. If you look closely, you can see some writing on the script. And finally we come to the end scene. This was filmed at King Harbour and also at the Portofino Inn, which are both at Redondo Beach, California. In this first shot we have Mad Dog crashing through the barrier in his truck. Again, it really hasn't changed. Then the rest of the cannonballers chase after him and then exit their vehicles and make a run for the finish line. As they are running, Burt Reynolds decides to jump on the rest of the cast to stop them catching Captain Chaos. From this still you can clearly see they use stuntmen and women to replace the actors. Notice Sammy Davis Jr. and Dean Martin's stand-ins. And then this scene, you can see Farrah Fawcett and Tara Buttman's stunt doubles. It then cuts back to the actors lying on the floor. Here is how it looks today from different angles. As Captain Chaos makes a run to the finish line, a lady cries out for someone to rescue her dog. In real life the water is further away, so the stuntman would have jumped over onto a mattress. Just to the left hand side where the chap is waving is where he would have jumped over, and here's the ramp as it looks today. Jackie Chan turning up. And the final scene is zoomed out to an overhead shot. Again, it would have been done by helicopter. This is an aerial view I've outlined as to where Captain Chaos would have made the jump and to where the finish line would have been. And a 3D view. Well, thanks for joining me on the making of the Cannonball Run. And if you've made this far, consider subscribing to the channel and check out the home cinema shop. The link is below. And if you remember any of these scenes being filmed and you were there at the time, drop a comment down below and share your story. I'll now leave you with some stills from the movie. Thanks for watching and enjoy your movies. Bye.